हाँ जी, नेक्स्ट टॉपिक ऑफ 16 ग्रुप एलिमेंट, रिएक्टिविटी टूवर्ड्स ऑक्सीजन. Reactivity towards oxygen, 16 group has oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. So reactivity towards oxygen, we will discuss only these. Among these, the reaction of sulfur with oxygen is most important. So all members of 16th group react with oxygen to form oxides, which are monooxides, dioxides and trioxides respectively. So sulfur can make bond with oxygen to form sulfur monoxide, sulfur dioxide as well as sulfur trioxide. Means sulfur monoxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Mono, di and tri. Among these, dioxides and trioxides are most important. In the oxidation state, we have discussed that all the members of 16th group can have +2, +4 and +6 oxidation states respectively. So in case of monoxide, sulfur has oxidation state +2. In case of dioxide, it has oxidation state +4, and in case of trioxide, it has oxidation state +6. So first is monoxide. Monoxide is not important for you, but preparation can be asked. So preparation of monoxide is reaction of dioxide with the element itself gives monoxide. For example, if we react sulfur dioxide with sulfur and heat the mixture, then we will get sulfur monoxide. But for exams, you have dioxides and trioxides as important parts. So first we will discuss about the dioxides. Dioxides of any element of 16th group can be prepared by the direct reaction of element with oxygen. For example, reaction of sulfur with oxygen directly gave us sulfur dioxide. Similarly, selenium can also react with oxygen to form selenium dioxide. For the examination point of view, structure of the dioxide is most important. So what is the structure of any dioxide of 16th group? Let me take the example of sulfur dioxide. In sulfur dioxide, sulfur has atomic number 16. So its configuration will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p4. And in case of oxygen, it has atomic number 8. So it will have configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. So how they react with each other to form sulfur dioxide? So this is the sulfurs. This is your 3s, 3p, but it also has vacant d orbital. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 3d orbital. So this is the ground state of sulfur. and in oxygen it has configuration 2s2 2p4. So oxygen will have 2s2 2p4. But in case of oxygen there are no vacant d orbital. So this is first oxygen. Similarly there will be second oxygen in case of sulfur dioxide. So there are total 4 unpaired electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4. But in case of sulfur, it has 2 unpaired electrons. So for making the bond with oxygen, sulfur undergo excitation. Excitation means its 1 electron from 3p orbital will jump into 3d orbital. So in the excited state, sulfur will have this configuration. Now sulfur has 4 unpaired electron. So first oxygen, it will undergo sp2 hybridization, 1s and 2p. So its state of hybridization will be sp2. So first oxygen will make sigma bond, second oxygen will make sigma bond. But second electron of both oxygens will make pi bond. First pi bond and second pi bond. So because the hybridization is sp2, its geometry should be planar. Planar means like this. So this is the planar geometry, but in this case one orbital has lone pair of electron like this. So this is 3s electron. So first sigma bond with oxygen, second sigma bond with oxygen. Similarly first pi bond, so this will be the pi bond of oxygen and this will be the pi bond of second oxygen. But in these pi bonds there is one major difference. One of them will be p pi bond and second will be p pi d pi bond, because sulfur has this orbital 3p but this orbital is 3d. But in case of oxygen both orbitals are p. So this bond will be p pi and this bond will be p pi d pi. So because of the presence of this lone pair, bond angle in sp2 hybridization is 120 degree. But because of the presence of this lone pair, it is reduced to approximately 119 degree 5 minutes. So next question is, these two bonds are different because one is p pi and second is p pi d pi. So these bond lengths should be different, but experimentally it is found that these pi bonds are of same bond length, means sulfur has same type of bonding on both sides. So because of the same bond length, we can say that there is a resonance. Means it can be also p pi d pi and it can be also p pi. So both lengths are same. So this is all about the structure of SO2. In SO2, state of hybridization is sp2. Geometry should be planar, but it is somewhat distorted due to the presence of lone pair. Bond angle is reduced from 120 degree to 119 degree and both pi bonds are of same length. It means there exists a resonance, and sulfur dioxide is gaseous in nature. So similarly selenium can also form SeO2, but here we have to write Se. So this will be the structure of SeO2. Next is the structure of trioxide. Dioxides of 16th group can react with water. For example, one more thing about the dioxide is, for example, if we have SO2 and we pass this gas into water, then we get a acid. This is sulfurous acid. So oxides of these 16th groups are acidic in nature because all of them react with water to form acidic solutions. Next is trioxides. Trioxides of 16th group. Trioxide means, for example, SO3, sorry. So how will we get SO3? If we heat sulfur dioxide with oxygen in the presence of a catalyst. Catalyst is usually platinum or vanadium pentaoxide, and we heat this mixture up to 400 degrees Celsius, then we will get sulfur trioxide, and this step makes the basis for the formation of sulfuric acid, and the process is known as contact process. So this is one of the most important step for the preparation of sulfuric acid, and the process is known as contact process. So this is the reaction from which we can get sulfur trioxide from the sulfur dioxide. Simply you have to heat the sulfur dioxide with the oxygen at 400 degrees Celsius, but in the presence of a catalyst. So this is the SO3, means sulfur trioxide. Now next part is the structure of sulfur trioxide. Again, sulfur will have configuration 3s2 and 3p4. So this is 3s2, this is 3p4, and it will also have vacant 3d orbital. Now we have 3 oxygens. All of them have 2s2, 2p4. Two s2, 2p4. So these are 3 oxygens and this is sulfur. So the formation of bond will require 6 unpaired electron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here are only 2 unpaired electrons. So first this electron will excite from 3p to 3d. Now there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 unpaired electron. In the next time this electron will also excite from 3p to 3d. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are total 6 unpaired electrons. But among these 6 unpaired electrons, 3 bonds will be sigma and 3 bonds will be pi. So total 1, 2, 3 sigma bonds. So 1, 2, 3. So again the hybridization will be sp2, because pi orbitals are not involved in hybridization. So sulfur will again have planar geometry, and now there will be no lone pair. So first oxygen, second oxygen, and this will be third oxygen. These 3 are sigma bonds. Next, first pi bond, second pi bond, and third pi bond. So first pi bond, second and third. Again, among these 3 pi bonds, one will be p pi, and other 2 will be p pi, d pi. these two will be d pi. But again, because of the presence of resonance, all the bond lengths are same, so all of them have same bond lengths. So this is the structure of sulfur trioxide. Similarly, selenium also has this type of structure. Hanji, one important thing about the selenium is in the vapor phase, means in the gaseous state, selenium has similar structure, but in the solid state it occurs as tetramer. Similarly, sulfur, for example, in gaseous phase and in solid phase. In gaseous phase, sulfur trioxide has this structure. Similarly, selenium trioxide also have this structure, same. But in case of solid phases, sulfur trioxide exists in the form of a trimer, and this occurs as a tetramer. Trimer means, देखो, sulfur, oxygen, oxygen, again sulfur, sulfur, oxygen, oxygen. ठीक है? So this will be double bond O, double bond O, and double bond O. This is your primer. एक minute. Here will be 2. Sorry, it will be like this. There will be total 9 oxygens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 3 sulfur. So it is the trimer of SO3 in the solid phase. Similarly, selenium trioxide also occurs as tetramer in the solid phase. Tetra means 4. So if we draw selenium, oxygen, oxygen, again selenium, again selenium 3, oxygen, oxygen, selenium, and this selenium. 1, 2, 3, 4 tetramer, but there should be 12 oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. This will be the structure of tetramer of selenium trioxide. These trimers and tetramers of sulfur and selenium occurs in solid phase only. In the gaseous state, they occur as monomers, means single molecule. So this is all about the reactions of oxygen family with oxygen. Last chemical property is the reactivity towards halogens. So all the members of 16th group mainly form 3 types of halides with halogens, which are dihalides, tetrahalides, and hexahalides respectively. Exceptions are also present, monohalides and pentahalides. Reactivity towards halogens. All members react with halogens, all members of 16th group react with halogens to form halides, which are generally dihalides, tetrahalides and hexahalides respectively. Exceptions are also present. Exceptions means they can also form monohalides and pentahalides, but we will discuss only dihalides, tetrahalides as well as hexahalides. Dihalides, di means two, so these members can react with two halogens. For example, SF2, similarly it can form tetrahalides, SF4 and hexahalides. Reaction with halogens are more important for the sulfur only. We will discuss no example of 16th group except sulfur. This is sulfur difluoride, or you can say dihalide of sulfur, tetrahalide of sulfur and hexahalide of sulfur. Among these, the stability order, if we take all halogens, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, compounds of fluorine are most stable as compared to chlorine, bromine and iodine. Means stability order of halogens towards 16th group decreases as fluorides are more important than chlorides, then bromides, then iodides, because as the size of halogen goes on increasing, their stability goes on decreasing. So we can say dihalide of sulfur with fluorine will be most stable and dihalide of sulfur with iodine will be least stable. So first we will discuss dihalide. You can take example SF2 or SCl2. For example, if we are taking the example of SF2, again sulfur 3s2 3p4, and fluorine 1 2. Fluorine has atomic number 9, so it will have configuration 1s2 2s2 2p5. so 2s2 2p5, 2s2 2p5, this is 2s2 2p5 configuration, this is 3s2 3p4. so we require only 2 unpaired electron. We require only 2 unpaired electron and we have already 2 unpaired electron. So now this sulfur will undergo hybridization sp3. So according to the sp3 hybridization, its geometry should be tetrahedral, but because of the presence of these two lone pairs, it will be distorted in nature. So first fluorine will make sigma bond and second fluorine will make sigma bond. So first fluorine will make sigma bond and second fluorine will make sigma bonds, but there will be 2 lone pair also. So this is the structure of any dihalide of 16th group with halogens. Geometry is sp3, shape is distorted tetrahedral. Next is your formation of tetrahalides. formation of tetrafluorides. Again sulfur 3s2 3p4 3d, but now we have 4 fluorines, all of them 2s2 2p5. Two s2 2p5 2s2 2p5. Now we require 4 unpaired electrons, so this electron will excite from 3p to 3d. So all the bonds are sigma, first sigma, second, third, fourth. So now hybridization will be sp3 and d. So state of hybridization will be sp3d, and for sp3d geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. So geometry will be trigonal bipyramidal, but it will be again distorted due to the presence of this lone pair. So what do you mean by trigonal bipyramidal? So first fluorine, second, this shape is known as trigonal bipyramidal. देखो, this is trigonal and these two positions are bipyramidal. Actually these 3 positions are known as equatorial bonds and these 2 bonds are known as axial bonds, but among these 3 equatorial positions, one equatorial position is occupied by this lone pair. So because of the presence of this lone pair, we don't call this geometry as trigonal bipyramidal, we know it as seesaw geometry. Seesaw geometry. Last we have left with the sulfur hexafluoride. All things are same, but we have 2 more fluorines. Now SF6. Two s2 2p5 2s2 2p5. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 fluorines. We require 6 unpaired electrons. So now this electron will also excite like this. So we will have geometry sp3d2. Now hybridization will be sp3d2, and for sp3d2 the shape is octahedral. Octahedral. So what is octahedral shape? Octahedral means sulfur, first fluorine, second, third and fourth. This will be fifth and this will be sixth. This shape is known as octahedral shape. So this is the structure of SF6. There will be no lone pair. Geometry will be regular octahedral. Now one important question for your exam is why SF6. Question is why SF6 is chemically inert in nature. Or same question can be asked as why SF6 doesn't undergo hydrolysis but SF4 undergoes hydrolysis. So what is hydrolysis? Hydrolysis means reaction with water. Chemically it is found that if we treat SF4 with water, reaction is possible and we get HF and SO2, 4HF and SO2. Reaction is possible. SF4 undergoes hydrolysis, means it can react with water. But SF6, when we treat SF6 with water, there is no reaction. No reaction means it is chemically inert. So what is the reason behind this? Why this is chemically inert and this undergo hydrolysis easily? Because in case of SF6, sulfur is surrounded by 6 fluorines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 fluorines cover this sulfur properly, or you can say these 6 fluorine protect the sulfur from the incoming reagent. There is a steric hindrance. Steric hindrance means the sulfur is surrounded on all sides by the fluorines. These fluorines properly protect the sulfur from any reagent and there will be no reaction and it will be chemically inert in nature. But in case of SF4, we have seesaw geometry. Sulfur is protected by only 4 fluorines. So there is a position to attack the sulfur. That's why in case of SF6 there is no reaction, because it is chemically protected, or you can say it is sterically hindered by 6 fluorines and they don't allow to sulfur to react with any reagent. That's why SF6 is chemically inert, but SF4 easily undergoes hydrolysis. So these are the chemical properties of 16th group. We have discussed reaction with hydrogen, reaction with oxygen and reaction with halogens. So next topic of 16th group will be chemistry of 16th group compounds, and we have in syllabus I think O2, O3 and H2SO4. So these we will discuss in next lecture.